This conference will
end-to
now be recorded.
end-to-end testing, smoke testing, sanity testing. So various techniques. Yesterday we had a discussion regarding this, right? Right. Now today a very important terminologies will go ahead. Pre-SRN testing means pre-SRN. SRN is nothing but software release notes, or we also call it as service release note. So as soon as they complete developing software by developer, I mean to say after completion of integration testing, once they complete integrating all the modules, and once they're getting into one exe file, after integrating some of the features, those that particular we call it's a build, or we call it's AUT, application under test. So along with that AUT or build, testers have to receive SRN also, software release note. Why? Because we don't know what developer has developed in that software, right? In that new build, what updations have done, we don't know. How many models under constructions, we don't know. How many bugs are under still development from developer, we don't know. How many bugs are fixed by developers, we don't know. So before testers, before you start your testing, you please open this SRN. It's an MS Word. It will send MS Word. 2-3 pages of matter will be there. Just open it, study that. Try to understand the status of the current build. They'll tell us how many modules we have available for testing, and they'll give that URL also, and they'll give that version number and which version you want to test this. Okay, every information will be given there. That means they're giving awareness to testing department what we need to test in that project, what we did not go for testing in that project. Okay, so this SRN is very important. Even don't accept any build from developer without having proper SRN. Okay, any developer, any testers should not accept any build from developer without having proper SRN. That is what the meaning of SRN here. Next thing is regression testing. Regression testing. What is meant by regression testing? When do we go for regression testing? Majorly, you will hear this word everywhere, right? Any company compulsory have to go for regression testing. Meaning of regression testing is nothing but performing testing on already tested functionalities. Performing testing on already tested functionalities on the iterative and incremental builds is known as regression testing. It's very clear. Regression testing cannot be done on waterfalls model, cannot be done on V model because both are sequential models. Regression testing can be done on agile process. Regression testing can be done on incremental models in SDLCs. That means whenever we are going for multiple version development, whenever we have a multiple version development, compulsory this regression testing will come into picturization. It will be performed in two ways. See, whenever any bug is identified by the testing team, it will be reported to the development team. The developer will fix, and then he'll release the fixed bugs in the form of new build, say build one to the testing team. Yes, whenever you are getting normally first version, no regression testing required. First version, you go for normal execution. You'll start executing the test cases, and whatever bugs you are coming across, you're reporting them to development team, and developer is going to fix that bugs, and then he's going to release that again to testing team in the form of new build, or we call modified build, real time. The test engineers will test again to check whether the bug is really fixed or not. The test engineer will test again to check whether the bug is really fixed or not. So this kind of testing is called what? Retesting. Whatever bugs are fixed by developer, you are going to re-execute them. That is called retesting. The test case which are passed on the old build, the test case which are passed on the old build will be executed again on the new build and check that whether those are working as previous or not. Yes, previously you executed 200 test cases, previous first build. Second build again they added 10 more requirements. You again prepared 150 test case for that. Assume that. So 300 plus 150, 450 test case. Again you have to go on executing them. Why? How previous version is working, on which environment previous version is working, on which hardware it is working, on which browsers it is working, on which OS it is working. Again, we have to retest it again in that new version. Anything may happen. You may have some side effects. Previously, Gmail is working on all browsers, all operating system. Now, new version is not supporting that. Maybe some because of adding some new code by developer, because of some modifications in the build, there are some chances to get side effects. So it is tester responsible to re-execute them. So testing already tested functionalities is called regression testing. You're again going to execute that already tested functionality. So that means testing only new functionalities is not regression testing. Testing only new functionalities is not regression. You have to test again old plus new again. Then only it comes under regression testing. Okay, so here look at the diagram. Developer, after developing the software by developer, he will deploy into testing team. He will release the build plus SRN. SRN is very much important. Testing team will deploy in your system. First, perform sanity testing. Remember, for every new build, yesterday what I told you, sanity testing is not customer validation. Just we are ensuring all the basics of that build. We are checking that build is fit for testing or not. How healthy the build is for testing. Every basics are working correctly or not. Once sanity testing is passed, then only we'll start executing the test cases. While executing test cases, you may come across defects or bugs. You're reporting back to developer. Again, developer is going to take second build. Build one already we tested, second build. In the second build, what is doing? It's taking second build, fixed bugs, FB. FB stands for fixed bugs. NF stands for new functionalities. He is going to add new functionality code and he is going to fix the bugs what you reported and is sending again in the form of build 2 again. In the form of build 2 testing team. From here, from build 2 onwards, we have to go for regression testing. For build 1, we don't want regression. For build 2 only, we could start regression testing. It's a cyclic process for every build. So regression testing means what? Build 2 plus fixed bugs plus new functionalities. It is our responsibility to execute build 2 plus fixed bugs plus new functionalities. Why? To ensure the bug fixed works. So whenever developers are making some changes in the software, whenever developers are adding some new functionalities in the software, whenever developers are modifying the existing functionalities in the software, it is our responsibility to re-execute them again to ensure that they are fixed correctly as per client business point of view. Here, I written a few words regarding regression testing. Different people talk different ways. Look at that. Repeated testing of an already tested programs means modules. After modification to discover any defects introduced or uncovered as a result of changes in the software being tested or in other related or unrelated software components. Yes, any modifications are done by developer. The chances to introduce again or ensure uncovered results also the same way. In simple words, we do regression testing by re-executing the test against modified application to evaluate whether the modified code breaks anything which was working earlier. Anything may happen. Anytime we do modify an application, we should go for regression testing. Regression testing gives confidence to developers, 100%, that there is no broken functionalities after modifying the production code. It makes sure that there are no unexpected side effects. Regression testing will, that's what, why people are going with automation tool, this is the reason, one of the reason. Regression testing is one of the reason. Because every version your test case will go on increasing. Manually possible, but time consuming. Every version we have to keep on recruiting one or two fellows. Budget becomes more heavy for the clients and the companies, right? So if you go with automation tool, one day we'll develop the scripts. One time we'll develop the script for the first version, and we keep on reusing upcoming version. Maintenance will be very easy. So that is the reason we are going with regression testing also at the same time. What is retesting? Look at the points, very clear points. They'll ask you regression testing, retesting. Retesting is running the previously failed test case. Regression testing is different, right? Retesting is running only on what? Failed test case. Again, on the new software to verify whether the defect posted earlier is fixed or not. In simple words, retesting is testing a specific bug after it was fixed. When do we do retesting? When we go for retesting means when there is a particular bug fix specified in the release note. Release note. Developer will tell you. Compulsory go for retesting. Once development team releases new build, then testing team has to test already posted bugs to make sure the bugs are fixed or not. When bug is rejected, second reason. Whenever developer is rejecting your bug, go and retest it again. Ensure it. Why they are rejecting it? Chances are there, yeah? Every bug will not be accepted by developer, right? Chances are there to reject your bug. Whenever developers are rejecting your build, at the time, development team refuse few bugs which were raised by the testers and mention the status of the bug not reproducible. Whatever problems you are facing in your system, they are not seeing in developer system. So blindly developer cannot accept the bugs, right? Whatever problem you are facing, it should be seen in developer system also. Then only you can accept the bug. So in this case, the tester need to retest the same issue to let the developer know that issue is valid or reproducible. Show him in a defect review meeting. They'll call you. Don't worry. Sit with the developer. Show him. Maybe you are missing some steps. Show me. You reproduce to developer. That's it. When client calls for a retesting, whenever sometimes clients will call us for retesting. At times the client may request us to do the test again to gain the confidence and the quality of the product. In this case, testing team do test the product again. So a product should never be released after modification has been done to the code with just retesting the bug fix. Retesting, remember that's what I'm saying. Retesting, by doing retesting, remember no product will be released to market. Then what to do? How do you know? By doing regression testing only we can understand what are the functionalities are affected, what are the functions are not got affected. So here, what is the difference between regression testing and retesting means? Simple points added here. Repeated testing on already tested programs after modification to discover any defects introduced or uncovered as a result of changes in the software being tested or another related functionalities also is called regression testing. But retesting is only confirming what? Retesting is confirming only simple areas where the process is happening there, right? So that's what regression testing means. That's the meaning of regression testing. Any modifications are done, compulsory. Choose the test case here. Previous build test case, newly added functionalities test cases, bug fix test cases. Retest them again. Go on testing them again. Why? To find out any side effects in that modified build. That kind of testing is called what? Regression testing and retesting. Am I clear to all of you guys? Is it clear to all of you?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
by performing the regression testing,
Huh?
Like after doing the modifications for the particular functionality, do we have to test only that particular functionality, or do we test the entire product which is related to that
That's
functionality?
that's what I told you, Ma Priyanka.
Yeah, the
Compulsory.
whole thing we have to test.
100%. Retesting confirms only that affected area. Retesting, it will just confirm only that affected area which is modified by developer. Regression testing will confirm us the whole functionality, the whole software.
Yeah,
So that's what always whenever developers are adding some new functionalities, whenever developers are adding any modifying any existing functionalities, it's always better to regress all the test case once again to find out any side effects. How it is working the first version, coming version should work in the same way. We don't know. So how do you know? How do you confirm it? By doing regression testing only we can confirm. You understand all of you guys? Is it clear now? All of you?
yeah, yes, sir.
And so far we discussed techniques like formal techniques. So far we call them formal techniques. So far we discussed techniques called formal. You know what is formal testing? Informal, formal. Formal testing means testing any software with proper documentations, with proper procedures, with proper planning is called formal testing. All black box testing techniques comes under formal only because we have to go with the procedures, we have to follow, we have to prepare a proper planning, then only we need to perform. But there are some informal techniques also. Informal, what is the meaning of informal? Testing a software without having proper planning, without proper documentation, without test cases, without requirements, without specifications. Sometimes we should perform some testing. Such testing is called as informal testing. So what are informal techniques here we have is ad hoc testing. Ad hoc. That's what ad hoc testing performed without proper planning and documentation. That's what it said. Ad hoc, headache, right? Such kind of test is executed only once unless we uncover the defect. Only once. That means informal testing will be done in companies only after completion of formal testing. Yeah? First, compulsory formal. In some situation, when you feel there are some still uncover issues in the software, then better to go with ad hoc. But testing is carried out with the knowledge of tester about the application, and the tester tests randomly without following specifications requirements. Here, I can't assign to every tester. I should assign only a good tester who has good domain knowledge and experienced tester also. If assigned to junior, when he's not having proper knowledge on that software, he may not overcome that problems, right? So, ad hoc testing, it all depends on the knowledge you have. So, hence success of ad hoc testing depends on capability of tester who carries out the test. The tester has to find defects without any proper planning and documentation. Solo based testing. Generally, we use this in an agile process sometimes. Anywhere, but it's not a mandatory thing. But when to execute ad hoc testing? Ad hoc testing can be performed in limited time. When there is a limited time for you. Like see, monkey testing. We also call this also part of ad hoc only. What is monkey testing? What is the habit of monkey? Monkey habit is always it will do randomly and break something. That is the habit of monkey. Gorilla, monkey, gorilla, chimpanzee, all this activities same, right? All these are activities are what their activities means. They'll do randomly and they'll disturb something. So the same way, when you think like a monkey as a tester, monkey tester, you also behave like a monkey. Behave like a monkey in the sense, go on, test software randomly wherever you want. No test case are given to you. Why? To ensure that to break any system. Suppose I'm giving you, keep on giving input some data, keep on giving some randomly give some data, this data, ensure that is it breaking or not. Randomly do something. Is it breaking or not? It will not break when you do randomly. So situations wise, we have to use this kind of ad hoc testing, monkey testing. Just breaking out the system by doing randomly without any test cases. In that cases, we can go for ad hoc testing. And one more testing we have, that is called exploratory testing. Exploratory testing is very much essential in agile process here, generally. Exploratory testing, in this type of testing, the tester have to do minimum effort for planning, but maximum execution covers so that tester gets exact functionalities of the application. What does it mean? Exploratory means it is a tester responsible to explore the project first. You need to understand the project first before you start testing any functionalities. This exploratory testing will be helpful for tester to decide what to test. I cannot do testing without exploring that project. First explore it. Explore in the sense like go and study what we should test or what we should not test in that project. First tester has to learn the behavior of the application. Creating your plan, create your own plan, create your scenarios and start executing. This exploratory testing will come into picturation whenever we don't have proper documentation. We have less documentations, not more. Like in Agile, we have very less documentations. We don't have more documentations, right? So here also, we give freedom to testing department in this exploratory. Freedom in the sense like, you can test anywhere. You can have your own planning. You can have your own scenarios. But at the same time, you must find out the bugs in the software. But here, finding bugs depends on what? Experience of tester and skills of the tester. So when you have complete domain knowledge, see, when you're in a company, when you're working in a company for 3-4 years on the same project, don't you know which areas are getting affected every time? We can easily identify them, right? So that experience is more enough for you guys. You can go ahead and do. But exploratory testing can be done when we don't have requirements or testing documents or minimal documents. Exploratory testing can be done when you want to complete your application testing in short period of time. We don't take much time. When you want to test application early stages of SDLCs, in that cases, it is better to go for exploratory. Suppose if you take Agile, rugby game, if you take rugby game, both team, A and B team, both doesn't have any goals. Assume that. What they will do? When both teams doesn't have goals, not on rugby game here. You might have seen volleyball, football. When both teams doesn't have goal, after completion of the time, finally they'll have one. They'll give chance to both teams, right? That to minimum limited time. Only one fellow will come and goal it. Only one fellow. Both teams they'll select only one fellow, and there they have to show up their talent. That fellow has to show his talent. Limited time. When you have limited time, when we don't have proper requirements, when you have minimal documentations, then in that scenarios, this kind of testing will come into picturations here. So we are learning number of techniques. It doesn't mean that we implement all of them in one software here. Just we are learning for knowledge purpose. Real time, your leader will decide. Your manager will decide what techniques we need to use on the project what you have been testing. That we'll see in SDLC classes, how it will be implemented and all that. Okay. And after the completion of this black box testing techniques, the next technique comes into picturization is UAT testing. This is the last testing happens in a company. I hope you know, all of you. User acceptance testing. Right? So when this happens in company, user accept testing means it happens after completion of testing, system testing, 100%. You must test it. We don't give to customers demo pieces without testing. Kada? Compulsory. See that. First unit testing will be done, integration will be done, system testing will be done. After system testing, operational acceptance testing will be done, OAT. Operational means within the company, contract and regulation acceptance will be done. And that we go for alpha testing and beta testing. It's not that easy here. You cannot escape from clients. Very dangerous. Now it is here. Now you can understand how they're implementing it. See that. UAT testing is a methodology where clients and end users involved in testing the product to validate the product against their requirements. Yes, every customer initially, in SDLC, in the first stage, user requirements, customers are giving the requirements, right? And after releasing to them, they're going to verify, they're going to validate whether we met their expectations, their requirements or not. It is performed at client location at developer sites. For industries such as medicine or aviation industries, contract and regulatory compliance testing and operational acceptance testing is also carried out as part of user acceptance testing. The best example now we can take COVID medicine, vaccine for COVID, right? Now what is happening? Trial is happening. That is called, after developing that medicine, vaccine, they're testing the laboratory, and then they're implementing on human beings. Trial, not real, trial. If the trial is success, then only they'll release to market. Same thing in UAT testing also. UAT is a context dependent, and UAT plans are prepared based on the requirements, not mandatory to execute all kind of UAT tests, and even coordinates contribute the testing team. And they'll prepare some test cases. They'll choose some test cases. Accordingly, we need to go ahead and execute that test cases. But here, acceptance testing criteria in real time. See that. This is very important. Criteria and the conditions. What we have to check. See, functional correctness and completeness should be done. Data integrity is very much important. Data conversion is important to customer. Usability of the application they'll check in UAT testing. Performance of the application. Timeless, confidential and availability, security. Installability, upgradability, installation process. Scalability, load testing. Documentations. These are the things we need to do during UAT testing in companies. We have to follow these conditions and we have to test the software according to the customer. At the same time, in this UAT testing, basically, this UAT testing, I have written some points over here, that it is a process of testing conducted on application to determine does the application is ready for use or not. UAT testing will be initiated after system testing. Domain experts means the fellow who has good domain knowledge. Or end users are the right people to carry out UAT testing. Yes, two types of testing we have. Alpha and beta. Yeah. What is alpha testing? What is beta testing? Alpha is the first level of acceptance testing conducted at development premises. Not premises, premises. First level of acceptance testing conducted at development premises. Yes, that means soon after completion of white box testing, after integration testing, we can invite your client to your company who has given that project to your company, and we can demonstrate to the customer, so that we can before we go for testing, and customer will work on that product, and whatever he has inputting and he's taking up that any modifications you want, any abnormal behavior is expecting in that, he may ask us to rectify them by the developers, not by testing team. Before we go for testing, let it be rectified, any issues we have in the software. But beta testing, it is not like that. It's the last level of acceptable testing conducted at customer premises. Don't invite customer to your companies, okay? You are purchasing a car, where you are going, or they're coming to you or going to them. They're coming to you, no need not go. Are you going to a company? You're going to a showroom. Showroom is not a company, right? Showroom is not a company. Showroom means they're coming to you. You don't want to go there. You're doing some kind of trial testing on that. Why? You have to check, you have to ensure, is that product is comfortable to you or not? Is it fit to you or not? If that product is not fit to you, if it is not comfortable to you, there's no need of going with that product, right? We don't purchase it. That's what. Let us give a trial version. Let us provide a beta version to users. Best example, nowadays you are using a lot of trial versions in the market, right? Online, antivirus, MS Office, Microsoft Windows. Every time they're going to release new versions. And we are working on them. If they're okay, as per your expectations and your requirements, then you'll purchase a real version on that. So it's all a marketing trick, right? By the customer, by the companies also. That's what. In this type of testing, the software is distributed as a beta version to users, and users test the application at their sites. As users explore the software, in case if any exceptions or defect occurs, that is reported to the developers immediately. If they're facing any problem, they'll inform you, and then we'll repair it again and we'll upgrade again to the customers. So what is the difference between alpha testing and beta testing generally? What is the difference between alpha and beta here? Alpha testing, beta testing have other name called field testing also. Field testing also we call. Alpha, it is always performed by the developers at software development side within the company, right? But beta is always performed by customers at their own side. We should give them one working product. Sometimes it is also performed by independent testing team, alpha. But beta don't depend on anybody. It is not performed by independent testing team, but the client himself has to do it. Alpha testing is not open to the market and public. We don't allow everybody. But beta testing is always open to the market and public. It is conducted for software applications and projects. It's usually conducted for products, software products, beta testing. It is also performed, it is always performed in virtual environment. Virtual means temporary, no permanent setup. We create setup like that, temporarily. But beta, don't give any temporary, right? We have to give real-time environment to customers. We have to set up everything, how it is going to be in real scenarios. We should show in such a way, and we have to do it. Alpha testing is a form of acceptance. All of them are, both are accepting. Whose acceptance is very much important for a company means client acceptance. If client is not accepting, what? It doesn't make sense to him, right? You don't release to market that. Both, see, alpha testing comes under category of both white box testing and black box testing. What does it mean? Alpha testing can be done after white box testing or after black box testing, but beta testing is a kind of only after completion of black box testing only we need to go with beta testing. That's what. So the last level of testing which will be done in every organization. Accordingly, we are going to release the product to customers, and we are ensuring that everything is done according to the client business requirements or not. So these are the various types of techniques we have here. So all these techniques, as I told yesterday also, remember, different, see, there are different departments. If you're a functional tester, need not worry, only worry about functional requirements, regression requirements, that's it. If you're a performance tester, then we have to know some performance techniques. But who will decide means your managers, your leaders will decide what techniques we need to implement and how to implement those techniques and all that. That will cover in the STLC classes also at the same time. Am I clear to all of you guys? All the black box and white box techniques what we have so far. Hmm? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now it's time for us to go with STLC classes. What is, I mean, before STLC, we need to learn some techniques, black box testing techniques. Those techniques are very, very important. My question is a simple question to all of you. Exhaustive testing. What is meant by exhaustive testing? Exhaustive.
Testing done by the threshold levels of the software.
Mm-hmm.
Means whatever the threshold levels we limited it, that much of extent we are making that testing.
Yeah. Means you're testing any software in depth, you mean to say. In depth, detailed testing. Am I right? You want to test in detail, in depth. Testing with all preconditions, with all possible preconditions. Am I right? That's what you mean to say. Generally, is exhaustive testing is possible or impossible? Generally. Is it possible or not possible? Generally, I'm asking. Possible. Hmm? No idea.
No idea, sir.
No idea. Exhaustive, is it possible or not possible? Meaning here is, yes, I can say exhaustive testing is impossible. Why? Why it is impossible generally? Because if you go on testing with every precondition, valid inputs, invalid inputs, is it possible to release within customer expected date and time in that situations?
No, sir.
Then what to do? So we need to overcome that exhaustive testing, right? We need to overcome that exhaustive testing. Then how do you overcome that exhaustive testing means? Here we need to follow some techniques. Okay, we need to follow some techniques for designing your test cases also. Whatever techniques I'm discussing now, those techniques are possible to implement them while writing test cases also. While designing your test cases also, it will be easy for us to design them. What are the techniques we have? Let us see one by one. Look at that. As I said, exhaustive testing. If you test functionality in the system with all possible valid inputs and invalid inputs, then it is called exhaustive testing or in detailed testing or depth testing. Exhaustive testing is impossible. If you do, see, if I give login functionality, if you go on testing with all combinations, with all preconditions, when you can complete testing on that? It's highly impossible, right? So, exhaustive testing is impossible. Just to overcome this, to avoid the same time, we have to ensure that 100% requirement coverage. And here, we are going to use black box testing techniques. What are the techniques we have? Equivalence class, equivalence partition, generally people call ECREP, boundary value analysis, BVA, decision table, DTT, state transition testing, STT, and use case testing. So remember, if anyone asking a question, they'll ask a question. What are the techniques we use for designing your test cases means? You can tell these techniques. Some of the techniques are very useful for designing your test cases. For test data preparation 1 and 2, test data preparation, very important for test data. Equivalence class, equivalence partition, BVA, boundary value. There is no application without boundary values. Okay, so how you execute them, how you follow them, let us see. So what is equivalence class, equivalence partition means? Equivalence class. According to ECREP, first testing team has to analyze entire possible valid data and invalid data. Test data, inputs also we call them. And we need to divide them into two groups. Valid is one group, invalid is one group. While making groups, make sure that every input data that belongs to a group is producing same output. You're dividing some group. When you're inputting the data, you should give the same output what you're expecting. Yes, every input that belongs to a group is producing same output. Every input will take equal amount of priority for testing. Equal amount of priority for testing. Right? So in that situations, we have to go with ECREP based on that. For example, I have prepared one simple example there. So that application under test, there is a text box called enter character. What are my conditions for this text box means? Not my condition, customer condition. Assume that this text box should allow only single digit or character or a number, anything should be, anything what you type, it should allow only single digit here. If you go more than single digit or a character or a letter, it should show appropriate message to you. Then how do you divide data for this text box? What is valid data for this text box and what is invalid data for this text box?
Valid data is single character, sir. Invalid data is more than one character.
So will you remember tomorrow? By tomorrow? No, right? Can you remember it by tomorrow?
Okay. No, sir.
No. So what we should do in real time is we have to document them in an Excel sheet. See that. Yes, as you said, see, in a table we are preparing. See, divide that into two groups, valid and invalid. Valid group, lowercase. Condition is not given any condition. Lowercase is allowed. Small a to small z is allowed. Go and check it out. Input this small a, small b. Check it out. Uppercase also. Capital A to capital Z is also allowed. Numerics 0 to 9 is allowed. Digits also allowed. Special characters. Any special characters, whatever special characters we have in our keyboard, it should allow you. These are all valid data. So, when you are providing this valid data into the text box, the text box should accept or should not accept.
It should accept.
It should accept the data. But invalid data, null. Null means what? Leaving the text box blank. When you leave the text box blank, it should not allow you. Or if you go greater than one character, AB, ABC, ABC1, no need to go with all combinations. See, if you go with all combination, we can test the text box forever. That's what I'm telling. Exhaustive testing is impossible. So to overcome that exhaustive testing, they introduce these techniques. So within, say, with what data developer is developing, you should test the same data. Why you go beyond that data and waste your time? Isn't it? Whatever data developer has developed, test within the data only. Don't go beyond the data and waste your time. So such situations are called as EC, equivalence class or equivalence partition. Again, once we go to test case preparation class in our Primus bank, these are very important. We have to prepare a data again. Practically, we'll observe that. So that's the reason I'm discussing before only, before we enter into. That's what tomorrow we'll move into STLC class most probably, and then your task starts. I'll keep on assigning you some project so that you can write test cases. We'll see one by one. Don't worry. Okay, guys. So don't miss from tomorrow class. From tomorrow class, it's very important. From tomorrow, it's very important. Yeah. Important in the sense. So who is that waiting for? Who is this waiting for number of times? Who are these guys? Okay. Okay. Today, I think yesterday I forwarded all the documents. Have you gone through them, all of you guys? All of you. Did you see the documents?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll still forward. Next, we'll come across number very important topics from now. Manual testing. Once you go real time, from here your process starts from tomorrow. I mean, once enter into STLC classes, that's a major part in manual testing. Black box testing, white box testing, SDLCs. All these are only knowledge purpose we learn here, not for real time. Knowledge. Everyone should have knowledge. But once we move to STLC, how you test one project, how to write test cases, okay, how to execute that, a lot of things we'll learn from tomorrow class onwards. Okay, na? Okay, guys?
Sir, one more.
Yes, Karthik.
Sir, suppose like we have an issue like we completed both white box and black box testing,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, if we found a defect in the U8, then what's the approach? Suppose.
Sir, once again, your voice is breaking, Gupta.
Sir, is it fine that?
Yeah.
Sir, is it fine that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like unfortunate. Yes, sir. So suppose one application we completed both the white box and black box as well with the expected result. Then we move to the EOT. Unfortunate, the U8 people will find any bug in that. Then who will the responsible, like developer or tester or both?
See, it depends. See, first confirmation should be taken from tester, not from developer. They'll ask you first. That's
Okay.
what UAT testing. That's what we're not giving into production directly. That's what UAT testing is, just to ensure whether it is fixed correctly or not. First, they'll confirm from you and who is responsible person for that functionality, and then they'll check whether you reported defect for that or not. If you reported that bug to developer, then they'll talk to developer. So
If
here both
it's
will.
not okay, sir. Like previously, we don't put any bug, and even our test case is also good, and we have a screenshot everything. But whenever it to the production, it might bug. Then is there any like any conversation calls or anything is there?
100%, 100%. Everybody will come into picturation. Managers, client, everybody will come into picturation.
Okay, sir. Okay.
They'll talk to
So
concerned
like
department.
so scrutinizing everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you.
We should put everything to client.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys. See you tomorrow for next courses.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.